Good evening, everyone. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. Anything to report from closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The City Council did meet in closed session this evening. Conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation, the initiation of litigation, and the City Council did vote to authorize the initiation of litigation. The name of the defendants and the particulars relating to that matter will become public once the action is actually commenced. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Okay, council members Singleton,
Here.
Payne,
Here.
Campion,
Here.
Cruz, Howard,
Here.
and Councilmember Cruz wanted me to tell everyone he is in Washington, D.C. on behalf of the city and the chamber, cap to cap. So,
Okay, so we will now have a moment of silent prayer and then the flag salute by Pack 84 Cub Scouts, full stand 11.
Color guard attention. Audience, please rise. Please remove all non-scouting hats. Color guard advance. Prepare to post colors. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard dismissed. Thank you. Please be seated.
Great job, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, Liz, would you please read the video statement?
this meeting of the Galt City Council is being videotaped in its entirety and will be cablecast without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the Government Affairs channel on the Comcast and SureWest cable systems. Tonight's meeting can be seen on Channel 14 and will also be webcast at www.sacsmetrocable.tv this Friday and Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. This meeting can also be seen via live video streaming on the city's website at www.ci.galt.ca.us. A DVD copy is also available for checkout from any library branch. Members of the audience wishing to address council should fill out a speaker identification form and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing council and state your name for the record.
Thank you, Liz. Do we have any speaker sheets? Do I ask for that? Okay, we'll have agenda approval, additions, and/or deletions. Anyone? No? Okay, so we're going to move on now to the presentations, and I guess Vice Mayor Singleton, you're going to do some certificates for the jail program.
Yes, good evening, everybody. A couple of meetings back, I talked about people in our community, in our country, and how we see them every day at our stores, restaurants and our gas station is just around about town here, and how I thought that you should go up and shake their hand and say thank you for their service to the country and to the community. And in my opinion, all of these men and women are my heroes. They service us daily and defend us daily. So I just want to thank just a few of these heroes tonight. I'd like to thank some officers that have donated their free time after work from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation Center, and their involvement with the Galt Police Department and the youth of our city. The CDCR officers have been involved with the development of the jail program, conducted every other month at the training center, and have assisted in the RAISE program at McCaffrey Middle School to keep our youth from at-risk behavior choices. So if I could, when I call your name, would the officers please join me up front up here and accept these recognition certificates? I may have to borrow from Mike. I'm not loud about the recognition. First one would be First Officer Rochelle Gutierrez O'Donnell. You please stay up here, please. Next officer would be Lieutenant James Fox. Sorry, I didn't. You did such a great job. Thank you. Next officer, Mike Bieber. Not here. You'll accept it for him? I will have to come see him personally and say, why weren't you there? Ruben Guerrera. I know he looks like an officer now. This guy plays an excellent con man as a jail person. We should have brought pictures. Put them up there. Next officer is Sean Walser. Wallitzer? Wallizer. Okay, here's another one. Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry. William Rowland. Everything you do. Next officer, Joaquin Lopez. A long way, baby. My girlfriend, Peggy Mills. Matthew, is it Giblin? I always just call him Matt. Thanks for everything, guys. Want you guys review or so over here? 4 of you. Next one is Lenny Young. And without this gentleman, I don't know that all this could have come to fruition. This guy has worked very hard in our community. He's done an excellent job. And that would be Mr. T.J. Godotti. No. Hey, you got to girl. Oh, I got it.
I'll open your certificate space, you know. It really helps. Like you won something. The lottery, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take 2 pictures, by the way. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
You guys do a great job in our community. One more big round of applause for these guys, please. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I want to personally thank all of you, too. I went out there one day at the insistence of Vice Mayor Singleton, and you had me scared straight in the first 5 minutes. So just wanted to say you do an excellent job, and thank you for all your work for our community, and especially for the youth. You're greatly appreciated by the city of Galt.
You told them I made you come out, right?
Yes, I told them. Okay, public comment, please, Liz.
Okay. Under Government Code, Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the council on non-agenda items. Speakers may address council on any agenda item during consideration of the item. Speakers shall restrict their comments to issues that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council and limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Please fill out a speaker sheet located on the table inside the entrances to the council chambers and forward the completed speaker sheet to the city clerk. And Al Baldwin.
This gentleman. If you could pass that gentleman. You can do it.
You can do that.
Al Baldwin. I'm a concerned citizen of Galt, but tonight I'm addressing you as the president of the Galt Historical Society. And there's some historical plaques that are going to be mounted throughout Galt. And there's going to be 4 of them, and you're looking at one of them right now, which happens to be Brewster's. Brewster's is going to be one of them. The Don Ray Building will have one on it. The Grange Hall will have one on it, and Estrelita Ballroom will have one on it. And it's going to be, hopefully, the date would be June 1st when we're going to do it, if it all works out. And thank you. We're going to have one of the council members mount him for us, possibly the day before or so, and that's Kurt Campion. He volunteered this, which is great. We really appreciate it. You're good with the drill, I understand. So, yeah. And this is an ongoing thing, and the council, we really appreciate it, being able to afford to buy these. It's going to help Old Town. This is all circled around Old Town right now. The others were with churches around town. But these are beautiful plaques. I put it in plastic so it won't get scratched or damaged. But it's very nice. It's heavy. It says it all. This one here is Brewster's. It says 1868. And it's Galt Area Historical Society Site Marker. So they're going to have this on the building, and people want to walk through there. They want to see something historical in Old Town. They're going to get to see it down there. So this is great for businesses to draw public to our historical area of Galt. Appreciate all the time that you went into this thing about giving us a chance to do this and pay for it too, by the way, which is excellent because I can't afford it. And just want to say thanks again. Appreciate all the help and assistance you've given us. I'll give our city manager, Jason, the bill now, and then I will go sit down.
Thank you, Al. And thank you for all the work you do for the Historical Society. Okay, Liz, now we're at the information consent calendar. Could you please read the 3 items?
Okay, the first one, minutes of the special and regular meetings of April 2nd, 2013, and the special meeting of April 11th, 2013. Number 2, approval of the City of Galt warrants. And number 3, ordinance number 2013, amending, it's an adoption of the ordinance amending Chapter 19.12 of the Galt Municipal Code regarding floodplain management.
Okay, do I have a motion? A second? Okay, any more discussion, council members? Call for the vote, please, Liz.
Vice Mayor Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Payne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campion?
Aye.
Mayor Powers?
Aye. Okay, and now we're going into City Council Office's strategic plan.
Okay, that's me, or that's you.
That's me. Are we putting it up, or are we just going to read them? Or is anything up there for today, or no?
Nope, it's going to be up.
Okay.
I had to get out of my other.
Oh, she's gonna do it.
Okay, let's go to the first section, which is the 3-year goal to enhance economic development. And that is number 5, and that's to you, Jason.
Yep. This item is to update the Economic Development Roadmap that was completed in 2008 and have it certified by the Federal Economic Development Administration as a CEDS, Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. The city has formed a CEDS committee made up of various leaders in the community, economic development leaders in the region as well, and we had our first meeting last Thursday. Very productive. It was a 3-hour work session talking about the 2008 strategy, areas that we wanted to make some modifications, some new strategies going forward. And that is going to be, some of the input from that is going to be compiled, and we've got a second meeting scheduled middle of June. And then probably about July, we'll be coming back to the council, hopefully, for a review of that. And then the CEDS committee officially adopts it, and then we send it to the EDA, and then the EDA certifies it. And the good thing about having it certified is that it makes us eligible for federal EDA grants for economic development programs within the community. So that can help build infrastructure, roadways, sewer, water lines to support new commercial projects within our community.
Thank you. Okay, now we're into improve financial stability and maintenance of reserves, and that's to you, Inez.
Good evening. Actually, we are looking at refinancing a couple of the issues that we have right now. One of them is the wastewater treatment plant. We're also looking at the police building and Assessment District 99-1. We actually looked and tried to see what the pricing would look like if we did a public offering. It looks as if a private placement would be more affordable, and that's basically where we go to a financial institution and see what they would actually buy our outstanding debt for. So that looks to be more affordable because we can consolidate with one user, so with one bank. And they are actually reviewing the documents right now. They are taking a little bit longer on the assessment district, but we're hoping that we should hear a response. We were hoping that we would have something by this evening, and we don't. So we're hoping by next council meeting we can have a whole refinancing plan before council. But it looks good right now. We're looking at possibly a lower interest rate, but restructuring the debt. So
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Inez. Okay, now we're on provide services and facilities that are responsive to community needs, and that's who's going to do that?
I will be taking it.
Oh,
Which one are we on, number 2?
we're on
Public
number
Safety
2.
Committee.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wrong
This
one.
is for the program for at-risk youth. I believe Vice Mayor Singleton was going to give an update on that
Yeah,
one.
but man, I didn't give you
Yeah.
information on this, man.
Okay.
He's got that mic
Lead
in
on
his hand.
2 of them, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Councilmember Singleton.
this is something we've been working on for quite a while. I won't say how many months, but it's been a while. But it's coming together. It's the PAL organization, which is called the Police Activities League, and I myself and a few other members in our community have formed a board, and we almost, it's not quite sealed yet, have a place for that PAL program to help some of our youth at risk and otherwise, it's not at risk. It's the students that want to play sports or study or meet their peers. Maybe if they're having issues in high school, we can figure out a way for them to get a GED, high school diploma, or if they want to go to college, we can help them. We're going to be there to mentor and help give these youngsters a little structure if they need it and a place to go to play sports. But as it moves along, and it is coming along, I should know something here in another month or so. I'll update you at that time. That's all I've got.
Good. I'm glad it's coming along, Mike. I know you've been working hard on that. Okay, and now we're at improved community involvement and two-way communication, and that would be you, Armand.
Now I'm on.
Now
There
you're
you
on.
go.
The safety fair we have scheduled for Saturday, May 11th. It'll be at the community park. The hours will be 9 to noon. Some of the organizations that we have involved currently are the CSD Fire Department, SAC Sheriffs, Galt PD, Parks and Rec, Coast Guard, and the Elementary School District. Some of the activities that we will have for the kids is a bike rodeo, school bus evacuation, live scan fingerprinting for the kids, car seat inspection, open house at the fire department, and some water safety by the Coast Guard.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we're coming along good. It's going to be bigger than last year, and we've really expanded it.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now we're on to the city manager's office, and the subject is the Consumnes Community Services District proposed engine company closure.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. My pleasure to present this for you this evening. The Consumnes Community Services District provides fire and emergency medical services within the Galt community, City of Elk Grove, and unincorporated Sacramento County in the area. They are facing significant financial challenges similar to other jurisdictions in the region, and they are proposing as a means of cost savings to do an engine closure. The district staff is bringing a staff report to the district board tomorrow evening. That staff report was made public last week. It's attached to the staff report here tonight, and in that analysis by district staff, they proposed two different alternatives for their board to consider how to implement these engine closures in order to save the district a significant amount of money. The first option being proposed and presented would be to do a rotating engine company closure where they would rotate it among 4 different fire stations. One would be Station 46 here in Galt, which is on the northeast side of our community. Station 72, 74, and 76, all in Elk Grove. And the way it would work is every 48 hours, an engine company would be shut down, would be closed from that station for 48 hours, and then it would move to the next station and then it would just continue back and rotating through those four stations for the foreseeable future. I didn't see in the staff report whether they had an end date to it. My assumption is it'll just continue until the financial condition of the CSD improves to the point where they can restaff those engines. It is important to note that even though the engine brownout or closure would result in the loss of fire suppression at those stations, there would continue to be response for emergency medical services. So the ambulance and the fire truck would continue to provide service from those stations. So the engine is only one component of the station. It's not a complete blackout of the station. There would still be that component, and the emergency medical represents, I believe, over 80% of the calls for service for the station. So it is significant, and those calls would continue to be responded to uninterrupted. But there would be the loss of the fire suppression components at those stations that were browned out. As noted in the CSD staff report, option 1 would have a detrimental impact on response times for fire-related calls within the Galt community, as well as the Elk Grove areas, any area within the response area of those fire stations. The city of Galt would be particularly hard to hit, especially in the northeast area, which is where 46 is supposed to cover. As if a call came in the northeast portion of our community for fire service, the engine company in Station 45, which is down on 5th Street, would need to respond, and it would take obviously much longer for an engine at Station 45 to reach the far corner of the northeast portion of our community. That would be the station at 46, which is on Walnut, by the community park to respond. So the response time would increase. The other concern is if the engine, the only engine in Galt, if it was engaged in responding to a fire and a second call came in, then the response would have to come either from CSD's other resources, which nearest station is up in Elk Grove, or through mutual aid would likely come from Woodbridge, which would take significantly longer amount of time. Now, the CSD did provide us with some information that they had gotten from their consultants relating to response time, and the information that they showed that if the engine company at Station 46 was browned out, it would only result in a 14-second response time delay for the first call that came in. For the second call, so if the first engine was engaged, second engine had to be called in, it would result in an additional response time of 1 minute, 39 seconds, and this is for a 90% of the time analysis. So 10% of the time, it could be significantly more than that. And that's based on their analysis.
Would that analysis assume that you had two engine companies here to begin with, not one? So the 90%, the remaining 10% seems skewed.
Yeah, I talked to the chief. I don't know that she's here tonight, and she would be able to explain it better than I could. And I think she was a little bit surprised by the numbers as well, the results, that you would expect a much longer response time delay. But they run these statistics, and this is if we did have a brownout at Station 46, there was only one engine in town. This is the result in the average response time from that unit.
Now, what was that number again, please? Just
so for the first one, it was let's see, 14 seconds, and for the second one, it would be 1 minute 39 seconds.
Coming from Elk Grove, we're talking about an engine coming from Elk Grove.
No, I think what they're saying is 90% of the time you're going to have two. I think it's what it's saying is 90% of the time you're going to have two engines in town, and these numbers would apply.
Okay.
It's the 10%. It's the 10% where you end up with the skewed number, where your response time is going to be exaggerated or much longer, because you only have one engine.
Yeah, but it's not listed in the report.
Exactly.
Response time.
That's what's missing.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And it's all based on statistics. So it's all well and good to say, okay, here's the response time until it comes down and actually happens. And then instead of taking 3 minutes to respond, it takes 8 minutes or 10 minutes to respond.
15 minutes.
And then we were talking about some significant issues. So the option 2 that's presented in the staff report from the CSD would obviously not have a measurable impact on response times in Galt, because it would result in a single engine company closure in Elk Grove on Station 74. Staff believes that this option 2 is the most sensible choice of closing Station 74 for a couple of different reasons. Station 74 would have less of an impact on overall response times in the district. First of all, the closure of Station 76, they report, would have the least impact of all the closures, but they're reluctant to do that one by itself because of the impact it would have on Sac Metro Fire, is the information they provide in the staff report. But Station 74, they think, is a really good option for the sole closure because it's surrounded by other fire stations in Elk Grove. So it's not off by itself. It's easy to provide the assistance from the other fire stations within the area, as well as Sac Metro Fire that's nearby. And so if they were to close one station, the staff's recommendation is that it be Station 74 because you have better coverage from the other stations in the area. There's another alternative that wasn't listed in the CSD staff report, but as we were looking at it, we thought it might make some sense, which would be just a rotating brownout between Station 74 and 76, because they didn't want to just close 76 because of the impact on Sac Metro Fire. And 74 was a good choice because it was surrounded with them, but if you take just those two and rotate between those two, then you're not impacting Sac Metro Fire in an inordinate amount of time. but you're taking the station that would have the least impact on fire response times, browning that one out and rotating it between the two. And I think with the resources they have up in Elk Grove, they're better able to absorb that. I think the concern down here in Galt is that if we just have one, it's going to take a long time for that second one to get down here, and leaving us exposed potentially for a significant amount of time. So I think even though I think the intent of option one is to spread out the costs, I guess, or the cost savings among the entire district, it actually would affect the city of Galt more than the other parts of the district because of our isolated location. So even though I think that's the intent, that's not the reality. That's not the effect of the brownout here within the city of Galt. Galt obviously doesn't have a vote on this, but certainly we can let the CSD board know our position and our opinion. So staff's recommendation is that the council deliberate, discuss this evening, and consider making a formal, sending a formal letter to the CSD board prior to the meeting tomorrow night, and then appointing a spokesperson to go up and present that information to the CSD board as part of their deliberation tomorrow night. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Council?
I agree with a lot of what you've said, but I think more emphasis needs to be pointed out that I see what they're attempting to do to spread it out with the multiple closures at the multiple stations, but even in the staff report it says they don't, and I agree, they don't want to put an undue burden on any part of the community. The problem is Galt is so distinct geographically, it's not really part of the Elk Grove community. It's two distinct communities, and I think we would be at an unfair disadvantage by having the closure here, whereas I think in Elk Grove they have better ability to make that coverage. And I don't think that distinction is really called out in their staff report, and I'm a little concerned about that. Actually, I'm very concerned about about even considering closing it, one of the stations here.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, we do have multiple calls, and the backup would be, as the manager points out, Elk Grove or Woodbridge, and I think that could be disastrous.
Yeah, and I'm not in favor of closing any of ours here. Like he said, though, they were better to cover in Elk Grove than we are here.
I noticed Mr. Rutter in the audience. Can you comment on this?
Yeah, we also have President Schroeder here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Either one. Is the chief here?
No.
No, she's not here.
Oh, Chief Rutter, okay.
Guy Rutter, board member, Kissimmee Community Service District.
Yes.
So, do you have some questions for me?
I guess if you've obviously, I assume, looked at the report that your board will be reviewing tomorrow night, correct?
That's correct.
I guess that one of the concerns I have is that it doesn't appear to, like I was just saying, acknowledge the difference, the geographic difference between Elk Grove and Galt, and what a closure in Galt would mean different from a closure in Elk Grove.
Well, as far as medical service, we're not really addressing that issue, so
Correct.
we can rule that out.
Right.
Fire apparatus and response with that equipment, it's the major issue. But also, we have battalion chiefs or duty officers on duty, and there is an option that they have in case of a major fire situation that they could transfer those people from the medic to the engine and respond it that way. But still, you would not be responding your medic when you did that. So that's one thing that they could do, and that would be their judgment call.
But even if you had, in the instance where you had two calls, isn't it customary when you have a medic call, doesn't the engine roll with that at the same time with the medic?
Well, it does, but there's exceptions to that also.
But it does usually do that.
Generally.
Yeah. I guess I just have a real concern that this would leave Galt, in a pretty precarious position in the event that you had 2 calls at, within a reasonable period of time. And the response times is what concerns me most.
Well, we did question the chief on response times, and you have about the same figures that we received. But I think there's a lot more questions that need to be answered here. And I don't really think the board has addressed those. I think by being here tonight, we're getting a feel of what the community thinks and the level of service that they desire. But also at the same time, we are, as Jason stated, all facing fiscal crisis. And this is one way that we could save considerable monies and, still plan for the future. So, we all do have a problem, and we recognize that, but it's just how do we address it and deal with it. And these 2 proposals were put to the board, and they're on our agenda tomorrow night.
And I think that's why we're going up there tomorrow to their
Sure.
board meeting, so,
I'd like to make a comment if you're...
Sure. No, go ahead.
Mr. Rudder, one of my concerns, and I do appreciate the fact that you are considering option 2 and not just automatically excluding one of our fire stations. I think that we have a good relationship, but one of my concerns is if we have one of our engines being used and we have to rely on another one coming down from Elk Grove, there's so many things that can happen once they get on the freeway that could cause the delay even more than what you've anticipated. And then another question I have, usually when the fire trucks accompany the medic, there's a reason, and I thought I understood that there's some equipment on the fire truck that might be needed in case of a medical emergency. Is that why the truck usually accompanies the ambulance?
Generally, we have rescue equipment on the apparatus, yes. You're limited to what you can carry on the ambulance. You have mainly your medical equipment on that. But one thing that we didn't really address is, and Jason mentioned Woodbridge, we do have neighboring departments to the east, Harold, and even if we were to respond in towards Walnut Grove, we have that resource too. So there are a number of other resources around. It's not like we were totally stripped of what we have, but that's true. Depending where it came from, it would require a little more response time.
I just wondered, in your budget, do you separate your parks budget from your fire department? Because I know CSD handles the parks as well as the fire department.
It's separate.
It is separate.
Councilmember Singleton?
I said my piece and ready.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I might.
Okay.
Just as you look at levels of service, there are various ways of measuring it. Sounds like they've looked at a statistical delay or response time. I think we also need to look at comparative levels of service and economic support. We're 1/6 the population of Elk Grove. I'm guessing they have more than 12 stations. And if we get cut back to 1, are we getting an equitable return on our taxes that are paid into the district? I would think would be a question the city would want to ask. And just looking at, make sure that we're, for the amount that we're participating in the district, that we're getting commensurate level of service. And I too question how you could only have an additional 1-minute delay if you're down to 1 station during a brownout on a second call.
And I think Jason,
I did that.
on that.
It does raise a question. How many stations are there in the Elk Grove area within CS?
6 stations.
6 stations north of the Casumas.
There's 6 stations that serve the Elk Grove area, 2 that serve the Galt area.
Okay. And that's much larger. The Galt district down here is much larger geographically. I think it's like The old district was like 52 square miles, 56 square miles, I believe, wasn't it? Because
About right.
it was it went way out into the county and so forth. So it was a large area. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Council members?
No.
Well, thank you very much. I believe
Thank
that the
Thank
board
you.
will
Thank you.
It's not a,
evaluate everything and the discussion we had tonight. And we'll make a valid and good decision based on the facts we find.
Thank you both for coming to the
Thank
meeting.
you.
Really
Thank
do
you for
appreciate
coming.
it.
And I also want to add to the council is that we're not coming to this decision lightly, and we definitely want to make sure that the decision that we make is going to be done in the name of public safety and for the benefit for South Sacramento County, especially for Galt and Elk Grove, but specifically for the rural area that Galt entails.
Appreciate it. Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Did we have some members of the audience that wanted to say something?
Mike Guthrie, General Park Company. What I'd like to know is on the two stations they're talking about in Elk Grove, where are they located?
Actually, there's 3 stations that are part of the rotating Brown. I don't have the specific addresses, but station 72 is in the Franklin area, 74 is Laguna, and 76 is North Elk Grove. I don't know if President Brewer.
We don't have a map or anything that shows identified them.
So I don't know what streets there are. Do you guys have an address or a street name or number for any of the 3 Elk Grove stations you're talking about closing?
Well, as you know, I live in Elk Grove since '45, so I got a little idea where the streets are, but we have no idea where these are located.
Well, I gave you just the general areas. I'm not sure about the street address of those.
It wasn't.
Well, I mean, to me, if we're going to discuss that, it seems like that'd be sort of important to understand where they are located in relationship to, if you're shutting one down, where the others are in the response time. Because I think it's foolish to try to do something here in Galt. I mean, we need, if you only got one engine, you got to worry about it coming 8 miles down the freeway.
Right.
I don't think that's very wise. But it would be nice to know before we went up there tomorrow that you'd have some idea where those stations are.
The CSD staff report is included in the packet tonight, but they don't list the specific locations of those fire stations.
That's a shame.
You might
So-
want to come to the meeting tomorrow night. Some questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, Al?
Very quickly, Al Baldwin, a concerned citizen in this particular situation. Hey, if we're forced to do this, and it has to be because they're out of money or they're short $100,000 or $200,000, they should be able to figure out how to get that some way. We figured it out how to get us out. They should be able to figure out how to get themselves out of it. But nevertheless, middle of June to the middle of July, there should be a temporary fire truck on the east side because that's the most dangerous area right there for fireworks and grass fires and anything else, just as a temporary. I'm just making a suggestion, whoever's going to present it. Secondly, if we have to, we're going to have to go back to our volunteers again. If we have a water truck that we could use for a brush fire stationed at one of these stations that could just go to the brush fire real quick, that would take, let the other fire truck go to any emergency they have. This is crazy in a way because the response time is going to be very long. Houses can be burned in 5-10 minutes if they're not there in 5 or 10 minute slot. And you can't go into the house to save a life unless, I believe, and I could be wrong, a chief has to be there to authorize you to go in. The firemen just can't run in like in the movies. They have to be authorized to go into this house. There's so many little loose ends here that we're at the further southern end of Galt, the county, and we're just being blown off. This is ridiculous. It's not even like Elk Grove. We're a separate community, and we're growing, and if a school catches on fire, let me tell you, there's a lot of kids in that school, even with their sprinklers going off, that can get hurt very quickly with low response time. This is not the time to do this thing to Galt at all. I'm just saying it's bad judgment. And if it's money that's doing it there, which is more important, saving lives or your budget? And you better figure a way to get that budget fixed in Elk Grove, because this is crazy. Go back to our volunteers like we had before if we have to, because we'll take care of our own. Thank you.
Come on up, Dave.
Jason, before you leave, I would think there would be a lot of people interested in attending the meeting tomorrow night. Do you have location and time, and is it open to the public?
It is open to the public. It's at 6:30 tomorrow evening at the CSD headquarters, which is on Elk Grove Boulevard. Let me see if I can get an exact locate or address for you. It's the old Elk Grove, yes, the old Elk Grove Grammar School. I can look it up really quick while Dave speaks.
Okay. Guys, do you know where you're meeting tomorrow night? Thank you.
There you go.
I had it in my phone. I just couldn't find it fast enough.
Okay,
6:30, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Evening, everyone. My name is Dave Dahlgren. I'm a 20-year resident of Galt. 15 of those years, I have been living in a 54-unit apartment complex on Palin Avenue. Within this last week alone, we've had to call fire engine and an ambulance to follow at least 5 times. We're all seniors. It requires the ambulance comes first. The fire truck normally comes first, and then the ambulance is in tow. We're not complaining about the service we get. It's been great. They're right on the money. They're right on time. So I'm speaking for the seniors and all of us in the place who are over 70, or I may not look it, but I am. But the thing here is that this is going to affect too many sections of age groups as well as everyday living. For years now, right across from my apartment, there's a huge lot between my address and the corner of Simon Street that we have to call to get mowed down, or the owners of the property have to call to mowed down. Sometimes that thing is brown, and one cigarette thrown by a careless person or anything like that would ignite that lot, and 13 units would be out because fire makes its own draft, even on a quiet day. So we would be in bad shape if we didn't get a service in that. Just for that empty lot alone would threaten. If that went up, would threaten 13 units. So these are the things that I just wanted to bring up as part of the picture. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Dave.
Okay, so I guess we need some direction, Jason, and who's going to go up and speak for the city tomorrow night. And
Council concurrence on the letter, whether you want to send a letter advocating for option 2 or anything else specifically you would like to put in the letter, and then designate, I think, one spokesperson on behalf of the city to go up. And obviously everybody can go up that wants to go up, but it's kind of one person representing the city council to speak.
So we do say we want to write a letter in favor of option 2. I think that's
Right.
I think we all agree. As far as the person being there, if Councilman Campion would be available, he seems to be pretty knowledgeable.
Unfortunately, I'm not, but I would think either the mayor or the city manager would be the most appropriate individual.
I was going to ask what Jason was doing tomorrow night. I'm going to be there also, but for other reasons.
Yeah, that's fine. I thought you wanted a council member, but if
I appreciate it, but I think Jason would do a better job, and I think that makes the most sense. And unless Mary Lou.
No, I think Jason makes the most sense too, and Jason and I have discussed it before, and
Okay.
I do agree that I'll write the letter. I will go.
I have plans tomorrow night that I would have a hard time canceling
I'll go.
at this point.
I'm a big girl, I can do it.
So,
We'll be there too.
Yeah.
We'll back you up.
Yeah, so we'll just write the letter and we'll go.
so I'll draft a letter
Mm-hmm.
and send a copy to the council. Mayor, you'll sign it, and any council members can certainly go and attend, and
Now, do we
members of the community as well.
Do we have to vote on the option 2? Yeah.
I think just go with the motion identifying the mayor as the spokesperson.
And so in with option 2.
Option 2, yeah, just
Yeah.
the recommendation that he has.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Be good.
That's motion.
I just want to make sure it was clear that we were going for option 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's there.
Second.
Okay, call for the vote.
Vice Mayor Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Payne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campion?
Aye.
Mayor Powers?
Aye. Okay, so at least 3 of us are going tomorrow, and anybody out in the audience that'd like to come, that'd be great.
I won't be in town.
I understand. Okay, now we're at the Public Works Department and the award of contract for the fiber optic line installation project. Steve Winkler, that's you.
Thank you. This next item, T3 on your agenda, recommends 4 actions necessary to facilitate construction of a new fiber optic data line between City Hall here in this facility and the Municipal Service Center and Police Department facilities across town. This dedicated communication line will allow enhanced bandwidth for high-speed data communications between the city's sewage lift stations, the wastewater treatment plant, and our communications and data storage computers here in this facility. This need was identified in 2009 to support the new tertiary treatment systems that were put in at the wastewater treatment plant. And the current data communication systems have experienced periods of being unreliable, and they're very slow and do not allow for the high-speed data communications that modern automated equipment are requiring at the facilities. As a result, we've had periods where we've lost data and are unable to actually look in and review the operating systems. The whole point of some of the equipment that was installed back in 2010 was to allow us to remotely monitor the plant's operation and determine if there were problems. If we can't see the data or the data isn't coming in to the operating system, then we're unable to take advantage of those features. Part of that is to allow us not to have 24/7 personnel on site, just the ability to look in or receive alarms. And so if we can't get this corrected, we're going to need to incur some additional costs for either overtime or additional staff. So with that, we're pleased to present for you a recommendation that will let us move forward with the award of a contract. You in 2011 did authorize $300,000 for a community or capital improvement project to add this data line, and we've completed the design, went out to bid here recently, and 7 bids were received. We believe that was a good return of bidder interest, and we've reviewed the low bid proposal, and it was determined that Terry Hansen Electric's bid was both responsive and responsible, and so therefore we'd recommend 4 actions tonight. One is that you authorize filing a CEQA notice of exemption. Secondly, that you'd authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Terry Hansen Electric in the amount of $260,000, $260,089, and an additional 10% contingency amount of $26,009. And to do that, we would need a supplemental appropriation approved tonight in the amount of $70,500, which would come from the wastewater fund balance. And lastly, that you'd authorize the Public Works Director to accept the improvements as complete and record a notice of completion upon satisfactory fulfillment of the contract.
Thank you. Any questions, council members?
I just want to ask one thing. If I know, sir, you say bid packet construction history license and determine that the bid is responsible, the company is responsible. If we could get a little bit more on what you check on as far as their history and their license, I would sure appreciate it.
Sure. Our project manager, Trung Trin, is here, and Trung, would you like to just address what we looked at after we received the bids?
No, you can come closer.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, member of the council. Typically what we do is
Can you turn that on?
It doesn't sound like it's on.
Is it on?
Yeah, there you go.
Good evening, council members. Typically what we do is the contractor essentially lists his references, and we actually call and we check the references. And typically what we ask for is how they perform in past projects.
Right.
We also check their contractor's license. We also just Google them just to see what the past projects experience are. And that's the process we took for this contractor.
Okay,
What about, excuse me, I'm sorry. What about history as far as how they back up their work and any issues with the system and all? You check all of that too?
Yes, we do. For this particular project and this particular contractor, there was some, one of the references noted that they weren't very good with paperwork as far as documenting, but the work was fine. They actually, the construction work, which is, we find as pretty typical for contractors. They're used to doing the work. Okay. The paperwork's not really, you know, there, and that's something that we have to keep an eye on.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
No. I do have a question.
Okay.
Steve, we're asking for an additional $70,000, and it's due to what, additional or extra costs for design and permits, et cetera?
Well, yeah, the original estimate at the time when the project budget was established several years ago was $300,000. We did have to do some additional environmental work, as well as obviously hire a design consultant to put together these high-speed data type connectivity projects. And we did look at several options to make sure we were both going to comply with CEQA as well as get an effective installation with a minimum of construction problems. So the bottom line is, now that we've received firm bids for the project, that would be the amount that's necessary to add to the budget to fully award the contract with contingency. Now, included in that amount is, in the $70,500 is a contingency amount that we're recommending. And if we don't incur any problems or find any unexpected items, underground problems, et cetera, would have a savings at the end.
I'm sorry. How much is the contingency?
Yeah, we're asking for an additional 10%, which is $26,000, a few dollars extra.
And you feel like the $26,000, there may be a savings there?
Well, if we do not run into any need for major change orders or underground problems or unexpected difficulties in putting it in that would require change orders for extra work, then we will not spend that $26,000. We always ask for a modest contingency, because you can't catch everything at the design until you get out there and start actually excavating. We might find utilities that weren't shown on the plans that we didn't know about that we have to go around, or so typically 10% contingency is normal for a construction project of this size.
Okay. Well, I know we don't really have much choice. I was just trying to find out why we are going over what we expected to pay on this project. I don't have any other questions, and I would move the item. Now, do we need to vote on each item separately?
No. You're adopting a resolution with all those items.
Okay, so we'll let Liz read it, and then we'll call for a first and a second.
Okay, adopt a resolution. Number 1, approving the filing of the California Environmental Quality Act, notice of exemption pursuant to Section 15301 and 15304 of the CEQA guidelines. Number 2, authorize the city manager to execute a contract with Terry Hansen Electric in the amount of $260,089 for the construction of the fiber optic line installation project, and a 10% project contingency, $26,009, for a total of $286,098. Number 3, appropriate an additional $70,500 from the wastewater fund balance to the fiber optic line installation project. And number 4, authorize the Public Works Director to accept the improvements and issue the notice of completion upon completion of the work. And we do have a motion.
Okay, Barbara, you made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? Call for the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Payne? Aye. Councilmember Campion?
Aye.
Mayor Powers?
Aye. Okay, now we're going to close the city council meeting and open up the successor agency to the former redevelopment agency meeting. Roll call, please.
Board members Singleton?
Here.
Payne? Here. Campion?
Here.
Cruz? Powers?
Here. Any public comments?
I have no speaker sheet.
Okay, any additions, deletions to the consent calendar? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar, please?
So moved.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Board members Singleton?
Aye.
Payne?
Aye.
Campion?
Aye.
Powers?
Aye. Okay, now we're going to adjourn and reconvene to the Galt City Council. And we're ready for the city clerk's report, please, Liz.
Okay, just a short report. There's currently a vacancy of an alternate position on the Public Safety Committee. This position, this is not an individual appointment, it is an appointment filled by the entire City Council. The City Clerk's office received one letter of interest from Sharice Canning, who I believe is in the audience.
Is she
Yes,
here?
she is.
Hi, Sharice.
And you also have a supplemental letter in front of you that she sent today.
I'm sorry,
For
could
the
she wave
council.
again? So there
Wave
she is.
again,
Okay.
Sharice.
I didn't know if it's a good wave back there.
Okay.
Sorry.
At this time, it's recommended that the City Council make an appointment as an alternate position to the Public Safety Committee or direct the City Clerk's office to advertise and solicit additional letters of interest.
Council?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Quickly. In your letter, you said you have a combination of job experience. What kind of job experience? I'm just curious.
Might have to walk
You
up
need
here
to-
so we
you
can
need to
get
come
top
up
records here.
I'm going to give you the opportunity to impress us.
I work for CalPERS. I've worked there for 10 years, and my experience, my current job position requires me to, like I said in my letter, I have a lot of experience learning about the different structures of board meetings and committees. That's what I meant by that.
Is that what you do at CalPERS? Are you involved in those?
I review pensions, what's reported to us, and make sure it's in compliance with the Public Employees Retirement Law. And part of that is making sure salaries are publicly approved in accordance with public meeting laws.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
Yes,
Nice talking to you.
Good.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move to appointer.
That's what I was going to say. I have a motion to appoint.
Second?
I'll-
Call for the vote, please.
One of us second, and the third or mine. There you go.
I got it. She got it.
All right.
Okay, Vice Mayor Singleton?
Aye.
Councilmember Payne?
Aye.
Councilmember Campion?
Aye.
Mayor Powers?
Aye, welcome.
Thank you,
And thank
Sharice.
you for volunteering. We appreciate.
We do appreciate you.
And I
We'll talk
do
to you soon.
I do have a couple reminders. The Beautification Committee will meet April 18th, which is Thursday, in the City Hall Community Room at 3:30. On April 24th, the Metro Art Committee will meet in the Police Community Room at 6 p.m. On April 25th, the Commission on Aging will meet in the California Room at 5:15. That's in the Parks and Rec building. The Galt City Council Youth Committee will meet at 6 p.m. in the Council Chambers on Monday, May 6th, and that takes us to our next City Council meeting.
Thank you. Any comments by staff over there, over here, over there, everywhere?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Just wanted to remind or give everybody an update regarding the memorial committee for Kevin Tons. It will be held next Wednesday, the 24th at 6 p.m. here in Chambers. So if the public wanted to attend, that's one of the things the council wanted, is to have public input.
Okay, thank you.
But maybe we could put that up on our website, so people know. Please.
Okay. Steve?
Just a quick thank you to the community. We had many volunteers come out this last weekend, Saturday on the 13th, for our Creek Week, annual Creek Week function, and there was a successful cleanup, a lot of volunteers, and a lot of trash removed from 2 different locations along Dead Man's Gulch, and Aiden Selby and his crews are real pleased to see some of that assistance and use that as a springboard to, we're looking forward to a lot of community volunteers to come out a week from Saturday on April 27th for our Love Galt function. We've got many trees that have been donated by the Sacramento Tree Foundation. We've got landscaping to install, painting fire hydrants, painting ball field fences, and installing horseshoe pits for the 4th of July festival. So if the community would like to get involved, we're going to have all the materials. We just need lots of hands to make light work.
Great. We're meeting at Walker Park at 8:30, is that right?
Yeah, and you can check the city's website. I believe there's a flyer up on it as far as specifics, but we would welcome, or you can call the Public Works Department, or I'm sure the clerk's office, and happy to get you more information on who, what, when, and where.
Great, thank you. That's a great project. We're looking forward to getting some things done around town. It's huge.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Staff?
Well, that's good.
Okay, council. We'll start with Councilmember Payne.
Are you sure?
Yeah, let's get it over.
Okay. I just wanted to report I attended the first 5 advisory committee, and they had a presentation on the Alta California Regional Center, and it has an early start program that deals with infants and toddlers up to age 3, and it is for suspected or identified special needs. I think it's good for the community to know that this is an opportunity if you might need any of their facilities. Also, I promised the elementary schools that I would mention their fundraisers to keep the library open. Velvet Grill, let's see, what's the date? April 20th, that's this Saturday from 12 noon to 4. You can get an ice cream cone for $4, but part of that goes to keeping the libraries open. Then on May 1st at the Grange, there's a, sponsored by WIN, which is the women's group, a fiesta, an afternoon of art. And Lisa Klutz promises that we all have hidden talent and that we're all artists, and she's going to show us how we can do that. So show up for that. And then finally, unfortunately, this is in Lodi, but that's okay. This is Julia Says Bon Appetit, and it's this lady that can impersonate, I guess is the right word, Julia Child, and it's going to be at Hutchins Street Square in Lodi. It's on May 11th from 6 to 7. I have all kinds of information if anybody needs more. And if we raise, and we anticipate raising enough money to keep the libraries open, and then the race to the top money will continue to keep them open. And let's see what else. Oh, the Galt Youth Committee is having their yard sale at Smud Park on Saturday from 7 to 12. And if you, in the meantime, if you want to clean out your garage or your closets, I'll be happy to come by and pick up your stuff. I picked up 12 bundles of clothes from one of our staff members, so anything else you have, I'll be happy to pick up. And let's see, what else is there? I have to say that I'm really happy to see Lieutenant Updegrove here tonight because unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he will be retiring. And I just wanted to say we're sure going to miss you. And it's good to see you here tonight. Just want to throw that in. And I'm done.
Okay. Councilmember Singleton.
Yes. Wanted to say I attended Saturday's baseball opening. What a blast that was. T-ball. But these kids are just something else. The parents are really enthusiastic. Not like it used to be back in my day. There were no parents fighting. They were actually getting along very well. And it was nice to see the kids out there just enjoying. It was a perfect day. Perfect day for the opening. And Armando and his staff just did an awesome job. I thank you guys so much. Also, the LAFCO meeting last week, we were presented with the Elk Grove Sphere of Influence recirculated draft EIR report. To all commissioners for review. The SOI consists of 7,869 acres south of Bilby and Camera Road and Grant Line. A public meeting will be held on, let's see, what is it, Tuesday, April 23rd at 6 o'clock till 7:30 at the Barbara Morse Wackford Community Aquatic Center at the Valley Oak Ballroom. And the address on that, if you're interested, is 9014 Bruceville Road, in Elk Road. Comments can be made at the LAFCO meeting on May 1st at the County Administration Building at 708th Street. That would be the next LAFCO meeting if you want to make any public comment at that meeting. The public comment ends on May 21st at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you want to give your opinion, I encourage you to show up for the public meeting and for the next LAFCO meeting. That's all I have.
Question, the meeting that's being held in Elk Grove, is that LAFCO sponsored or city?
No, it's just public comment.
Elk
meeting.
Grove sponsored.
Elk Grove's doing it.
So
City of.
just on the SOI or on the environmental impact report?
On all of it, the whole impact report.
So Elk Grove is sponsoring it, not LAFCO?
Well, LAFCO's going to be there to answer
Oh, okay.
any questions.
Okay, well,
of
that's-
the public. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not there for me to.
Right, LAFCO staff would be there
Staff will be there.
to respond to questions.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And if you want to look at that, just let me know. I can.
I did look at,
Oh, you did?
of it online.
Councilmember Campion.
I'm good. Nothing tonight.
Well, I am good too because fortunately I was out of town last week in Arizona and attending a wedding in San Francisco, but guess I'm getting back to work tomorrow night. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting.